Welcome back to the Huddle. This is a short conversation, a follow-up, a recap to our last episode with my man Trevor Day, our lead buyer's agent at Noll Team Real Estate. In this huddle, one of the things that I want to touch on is I want this to be interesting. I want you to find the information we're talking about interesting. I want it to be understood, whether you're a salesperson, whether you're a realtor in the business, whether you're a homeowner, somebody who wants to buy a home maybe. I want you to understand kind of where the market's at, where the industry's at, and what the difference is. And then hopefully this is going to inspire some people. Hopefully it inspires you. So let's get on with this conversation. We had Trevor Day on the podcast, and what an experienced young man. I'm so proud of Trevor. He's like my little brother. But let's first talk about something that's interesting. You know, a lot of times, maybe if you're a salesperson, people say, "Hey, how's business?" What do they mean? In real estate, we have two competing conversations. How's business to me is how's the market or how's the industry? You know, there's competing conversations. We like to explain this, that the real estate industry, this is how are the professionals winning? What's happening with transaction volume? What's up with title and mortgage and lending? What's happening in the industry overall? It's kind of a macro approach to real estate. What's happening in the market? That's more about how can our clients win? Who's winning? Our buyers winning? Our sellers winning? We want to be able to have this conversation with our clients. This is part of the fundamentals that Trevor talked about. It's educating and communicating. If you know what winning looks like as a home buyer, if you know what winning looks like as a realtor, if you know what winning looks like as a salesperson, it's going to be a lot easier. So one of the things I want to touch on right now, my focus is on the industry. It's more of a macro approach. Like, how can I help my team win? How can I help our clients that we have in our brokerage win? How can we impact our local real estate market? You know, it's funny. A good friend of mine says that there is no national association of homeowners. Think about that. You know, if you live in a neighborhood, there's a neighborhood association, but there's no national association of homeowners. So all the tax incentives, the tax credits, the mortgage interest deductions, the 1031 exchanges, all the things that the National Association of Realtors lobby for and pass is a direct benefit to home ownership. We want homeowners to win. We're a big fan of homeowners. So let's talk about some of the incentives of being a homeowner. Let's unpack this a little bit. Some interesting conversation that we had with Trevor. Go listen to that episode. That was a great episode. I'm a big fan of what Trevor had to say. So much experience. But I'll recap it for you, and I'd love for you to go listen to that. But Trevor's been our lead buyer's agent for 4 years now, and in that 4 years, he has helped almost 200 families or individuals buy primary homes, investment homes, and second homes, vacation homes, lake homes in our area. 200. So if you average that out, the average realtor sells maybe 10 homes, maybe 20, at best to buyers every single year. That's 10 to 20 years experience that it would take for somebody to catch up to Trevor. That's amazing. Think about that. So, 4 years, right? So if you're a salesperson and you're thinking to yourself like, man, I see somebody in my industry who's crushing it. I see somebody in my industry who's doing really well. Give yourself a little grace. Give yourself a little time. It takes time. But 4 years later, right? He's a senior. Started off as a freshman, then a sophomore, junior, and now he's a senior. He had a great senior season. And he had to cut his teeth as a freshman. Like we all do. One of the things that he mentioned is we met at a coffee shop. One of my clients was mentoring him. He was a young Trevor Day at the time, getting ready to go to college. And we just met, and he kept my business card. Later on, he needed to do an internship. We did the same degree at the same university. And so he reached out to me to do an internship. I tried to make it horrible that day, by the way. I tried to make it miserable. I said, if he can get through today, he's going to be amazing. So he kept in touch. The emphasis for our show was really about how our business model is different. We have a specialist model, and Trevor works with about 98% of his day is directed all towards buyers. So if you're thinking about what you have to do in the course of a day, you probably are pulled in so many different directions. Well, we just believe a specialist model in my business, in my personal business, we believe a specialist model sets our clients up for success and it allows them to win. If the only thing he focuses on when he gets up every single day is how can our buyers win, our buyers are going to be more successful. He doesn't have to worry about paperwork, getting things closed, and setting up inspections, all of the behind the scenes. We've got a great team that supports that so that Trevor can focus on being a great buyer's agent. He talked about the importance of relationships. Our goal is to build a relationship and connect with our clients in such a way that they know we have their back, that they know we're advocating for them, that they know that our communication will always put their interests ahead of ours. We will communicate that over and over and over again. The way we do this is we start off with a buyer consultation. We always meet with the buyers in the office first. Realtors that meet somebody at the house. I mean, think about this: if you're a apparel company and I call you and say, hey, I need some T-shirts made, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, cool, send me your logo, I'll make you some T-shirts. Well, you haven't asked any questions. Like, what kind of T-shirts do I want? Maybe I want them for my kids, T-ball league. You have to ask questions in order to get to know people, and you can't build a relationship until that trust is built. So we like to have this buyer's consultation before we even go out. We want to know what the next step is. We want our clients to know what the next step is. Education is one of the fundamentals. So we love hosting that buyer's consultation. We do this with, we try to do this with almost every single buyer. Sometimes the situation presents itself where we can't, but the majority of the time, I'd say at least 9 out of 10 times, we're having that buyer Zoom meeting. That's a consultation. It's getting to know people. It's really where the relationship starts. And you're going to hear in every episode that relationships win, and that's how we win at relationships when it comes to people buying homes. Some of the challenges that Trevor talked about was, in the real estate industry, COVID. How do you show homes during COVID? That was definitely a challenge. We had low interest rates, really low interest rates. Matter of fact, artificial interest rates. What does that mean? They may not be back ever. What does that mean? There was a line at the door. There was 15 offers on properties. How do we get those accepted? Now the market's slowed down a little bit. It's normalized, which is amazing. We're negotiating more on the buyer's behalf. These are all challenges. The challenge is the real estate market always changes. And when Trevor specializes, we're able to make these adjustments quicker. So if you're out there and you're serving a clientele, just know that your clients expect you to make these changes at a moment's notice. They expect you to give them advice on what the industry is doing, what the market's doing, what are the changes that are taking place. We get a lot of people calling us saying, "Hey, I just bought a home 5 years ago. I kind of know how this works," or "I've bought 4 or 5 homes before." Cool. We still need to have a conversation because the market has changed. The process hasn't changed a ton, but the market always changes. And that's something that we want to make sure we can educate people on. So some of the key takeaways that Trevor talked about, the fundamentals are communication and education. We just touched on that. Our specialist model, Trevor talked on that a lot. And then really lifestyle alignment. Real estate decisions are 99% made because people are going through a lifestyle change. That's why people move. We're going to get into this here in a little bit. I'm going to help you understand why people are moving. Some of the quotes that Trevor mentioned. He said, being a successful buyer's agent is about staying curious. It's about asking the right questions at the right time. It's always about asking the next question. Somebody says, "Yeah, I'm looking for an open floor plan." Great. We like to ask that next question. Well, what does open mean to you? Well, I want an affordable home. Cool. I have no idea your financial situation just yet. What does affordable mean to you? So it's asking that next question and staying curious is very key. My personal opinion is this young man knows how to help buyers win. He knows how to help buyers win. Another opinion I have is all real estate's local. All real estate's local. So I focus on the industry. I focus on what's happening in the market, in other markets, so that I can bring it here to Fort Wayne, Indiana, so that my team can win, so that my clients can win. Our clients deserve to win, and that's what studying the market does for them. That's a recap on the show. I thought it was very interesting, but there's some things that we want you to understand as far as what's happening in the industry. What is going to take place this year? You might be curious. You might be somebody who wants to buy a home this year. You might be somebody who knows somebody who wants to buy a home this year. You may want to stay in your home forever, but maybe you're a salesperson. This is the type of stuff that we really believe people need to know. So we believe through a lot of education amongst ourselves here that there's pent up demand out there. A lot of times people are talking about, prices are up, the market's going to crash. I just don't see it. And here's why. Here are the top 10 reasons people are moving this year. In 2024, here are the top 10 reasons people are going to move. They're going to move because of family, being closer to family. They're going to move because they need a bigger space. They're just outgrowing what they have. Number 3, people love the interest rate that they have, but they just don't love their home. Maybe they bought a home a couple years ago, had a great rate, and they just don't love it. They felt like they were rushed to make a decision. If you're in that boat, you're You're not uncommon this year. That's actually the number 3 reason people are going to move. Number 4, people want to upgrade the neighborhood. They're looking for more amenities. They're looking for maybe a bigger yard, more sidewalks, swimming pool in the neighborhood. Number 5 reason people are going to move is a vacation home. People are going to go back to wanting vacation homes again. Number 6, this might resonate with some of you, lots of equity. When you have a lot of equity, you have a lot of choice. Rates are a little more expensive. Maybe the rates are higher than your locked-in interest rate. But an interesting stat that I heard was 60% of people have 50% or more equity in their home as of right now. So you have a lot of equity, which means you have a lot of choice. Equity is the amount of money you have in your pocket after you sell your home and pay off your mortgage and the expenses involved in selling a home. So people have a lot of equity. That's why they're going to move. Number 7, legacy real estate. Maybe they're going to pass on a home to the kids. There's going to be a huge transfer of wealth happening in the next 10 years. More about that later. Number 8, time to downsize. Time to downsize. I don't know about you. I'm not getting any younger. And as people age, homes get a little big. People move out. It's time to downsize. Out of area relocation. And then number 10, change of work or change of lifestyle. That's why people are going to buy this year. Those are the top 10 reasons why people are going to buy in 2024. Now, why are people going to sell? Selling is a lifestyle also. So if you're a buyer out there, be ready. There's a lot of inventory coming. And here's why. In the last 2 years, there have been 7 million newborn babies. In the last 2 years, there have been 3 million marriages. In the last 2 years, there's been 1.5 million divorces. In the last 2 years, 7 million people have turned 65 years. It's kind of that retirement age, downsizing, moving. There's been 4 million deaths. There's been 4 million net new jobs. And 50 million people have switched jobs. There you go. People move. People move because of lifestyle. You need to understand this. When rates go up, rates go down. Home prices go up, home prices go down. What's still fundamental in real estate is people move because of a lifestyle decision. A couple highlights. In 2023, we witnessed fewer than 4 million transactions nationally. The U.S. economy saw less than 4 million real estate transactions take place. This is the lowest number of homes sold in nearly 3 decades. All right. This indicates significant pent-up demand. So if you think about this, 1993 was the last year that we saw less than 4 million real estate transactions take place in the U.S. What does that mean? Well, at face value, it's nothing until you hear this. There's a huge contrast with our population. In 1993, there was 260 million people. Now there are 340 million people. So think about that. The same number of transactions happened 30 years ago, but with 80 million people more. That tells us there's some pent-up demand. Affordability is a real thing. There's more apartments being built, right? There's more condos being built. People might live different. People might have more living with their families, but the reality is there's pent-up demand. The largest demographic right now are millennials. There's 72 million millennials, and currently that's the largest demographic looking to move right now. All these first-time buyers. Think about this. You probably know somebody right now, age 26 to 35. 26 is like, hey, I'm going to not live with my parents anymore on average. And 35 is usually, hey, I'm going to look for my first house. And these are nationwide statistics. So in Fort Wayne, Indiana, that number may be more, just because more people looking to buy just because of affordability. But the reality is there's a huge, huge pool of millennials. If you're thinking about making a move, we can help. If you're thinking about making a move and you took a new job and you want to relocate somewhere else, we know people all across the country. If you're in a totally different industry, my hope for you is that you hear some of this information and it resonates with you. It resonates with you because being a student of the game means I'm going to understand the industry, but I'm also going to understand the market. I'm going to understand the industry because that's how my business runs. But I'm going to understand the market because that's the advice that I'm giving. And we're in the advice business. We are your trusted advisor. At Noll Team Real Estate, we are your trusted advisor. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to lie for you. We're going to give you advice on what winning looks like for you guys. We get asked this question all the time. Is now a good time to buy a home? Is now the right time to buy a home? That answer is up to you. I mean, one thing we've learned over the last 20 years, it is never a bad time to own real estate, ever. The market may fluctuate. There may be a period of 10 years, home prices won't go down. Historical data shows that over a 10-year period, home prices won't go down. It's always a good time to own. Matter of fact, I wish I had bought more real estate. And my personal plan is to continue to buy as much real estate as I'm able to. It is never a bad time to own real estate. Is it a good time for you? That's a question that we can go through together. That's a question that you're going to have to come to the answer yourself. We'd love to give you some advice on that. As we wrap up the huddle, we appreciate you listening. These are the short versions. So if you don't have time to go listen to Trevor, here's what we talked about. This is maybe a deeper dive into the industry as well. But I appreciate you listening. Hope you are encouraged to go back and listen to Trevor. He had some great stories. My man is killing it, and I appreciate Trevor on this team. I love all my team members, and you're gonna hear from more of them, and I can't wait. But go ahead and reach out to us if you're thinking about buying a home, or you know somebody who's thinking about buying a home. We're not going to steer you in the wrong direction. We're going to give you some great advice. We're going to understand what the market's doing. We're going to understand what the industry's doing. There's going to be a lot of changes in our industry coming up, and there needs to be, and we're going to communicate those to you as soon as we know. Well, thanks for listening. Do yourself a favor. If you believe that relationships win, hit the subscribe button. One click might just add more relationships to the game you're playing. Thanks for listening. And if you like what you're hearing, be kind and leave us a review. We'd love to know what winning in the game of life looks like for you. Relationships win.